Welcome to Frontline News from the University of Maryland School of Medicine News Center. I'm Larry Roberts. Coming up, how a psychedelic drug can relieve serious depression. But first, the Center for Vaccine Development at Global Health has begun enrolling children in a clinical trial of the Moderna COVID vaccine. The KidCove study will test the effectiveness of the vaccine in children up to the age of 11. CVD researcher Milagritos Tapia enrolled her two sons.
My husband and I are both physicians, and we understand, of course, the value of vaccinating people and everybody against COVID-19. And so we were very interested in having our children vaccinated for a couple of reasons. First of all, because we wanted to make sure that our children are protected. This was an opportunity to have early access to the vaccine. And second of all, because it's important information to collect at this point. Children have not been vaccinated as of yet, regularly or routinely.
It felt like that was in longer.
Kids will receive 2 doses 28 days apart. More than 6,700 children will be enrolled nationwide. Christian and Gerald Mugera are among 120 kids participating at the School of Medicine site.
I think that didn't dawn on them that they were doing a big service to humanity in terms of a vaccine until the actual day that they came to the complex and had all these interviews and questions. And I think that's when it dawned on them that this is a big deal. I think the bottom line for them was the fact that their life would normalize again. They'd be able to go back to school, see their friends, travel. And I think that was really what got them on board completely.
Dr. Tapia says getting children vaccinated is key to fighting variants and achieving herd immunity.
Children are now representing a larger proportion of the cases that we're seeing. And what this means is that, number one, they can get sick, which some people early on thought perhaps was not the case. So number one, they can get sick, and they now are, as more and more adults are being vaccinated around them, have been vaccinated around them, they're representing a larger proportion and are showing us that if we do not vaccinate them or if we don't prevent infection in them, that we are not going to be able to achieve herd immunity.
In our Discovery segment, a School of Medicine study shows that you don't have to take a trip to receive the antidepressant effects of psychedelic drugs. Dr. Scott Thompson has shown that the active chemical in magic mushrooms can retain its antidepressant properties, even when the psychedelic experience is blocked.
Psilocybin, a classic psychedelic compound, had been shown to produce a rapid antidepressant action in severely depressed patients. There's been now 2 very careful clinical studies that have documented that very well. But there's sort of a problem, and that is that they produce this psychedelic response, the mind-altering response that we know of as the trip. And so that's a hurdle. If you are going to be treated with psilocybin now for depression, you're going to spend a day in the hospital with a guide, personal guide, who will be there to facilitate your experience, to calm any fears that you might have, to help you react to this very strong, intense, emotional experience that's induced by psychedelic compounds.
But in an animal model, researchers were able to block the mind-altering properties of the drug by blocking a specific receptor.
It also opens up the hope then that we could treat patients, human patients with depression, with a combination of a psychedelic compound like psilocybin together with a drug that would block the 2A receptor. That would eliminate the mind-altering response to these psychedelic compounds. It would allow patients to receive the drug under much easier conditions. You would no longer need to spend the entire day in a hospital with a facilitator there by your side.
Dr. Thompson says easing patient concerns and reducing cost would open up the treatment to more widespread use. That's Frontline News. I'm Larry Roberts. I hope you'll join us again in 2 weeks.